Yeah, so we're just yesterday, Ladini Shakti, who's based in Czech but is visiting Switzerland, she led class. Ladini Shakti led class, and she happened to read from 1810. So it was such an enlivening class. I thought, let's continue that momentum. So we'll read from 1811. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We're studying Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 11. It's October 26, 2024. And we're here with Raktak Prabhu, Mother Savia, Bhakti and Kathleen Bhakti Devin, and Bhakti and Rosa. So we'll start with the words, the Sanskrit words responsively. Na, hi, dehabrita, shakyam, tyaktum, karmani, asheshata, yatu, karma, pala, tyagi, sa, hi. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake.
Yes.
Tyagi,
Iti.
abhidyate, nahi deha pita shakyam, tyaktum karmanya sheshata, yastu karma pala tyagi, satyagi abhidyate, nahi deha pita shakyam, tyaktum karmanya sheshata, yastu karma pala tyagi, satyagi abhidyate, nahi deha pita shakyam, tyaktum karmanya sheshata, yastu karma pala tyagi, satyagi abhidyate.
Nahi deha brita sakyam.
Nahi deha vita shakyam.
Tyaktum karmanya seta. Yase sata.
Tyaktum karmanya sheshata.
Yastu karma palatyagi.
Yastu karma palatyagi.
Satyagi yabidiyate.
Satyagi abhidyate.
Nahi deha brita sakyam.
Nahi deha vita sakyam.
Tyaktum karmanya sheshataha.
Tyaktum karmanya sheshata.
Yastu karma palatyagi.
Yastu karma palatyagi.
Satyagitya abhidyate.
Satyagi abhidyate.
Nahi deha brita sakyam.
Nahi deha vita shakyam.
Tyaktum karmanya sheshata.
Tyaktum karmanya sheshata.
Yastu karma palatyagi.
Yastu karma palatyagi.
Satyagiti abhidyate.
Satyagi abhidyate. Nahi deha vita shakyam. Tyaktum karmanya sheshata. yastu karma pala tyagi. Satyagi vidiyate. Na,
No.
never.
Never.
He,
He.
certainly.
Certainly.
Dehabrita,
Dehabrita.
of the embodied.
Embodied.
Shakyam,
Shakyam.
possible.
Possible.
Tyaktum,
Shaktum.
to renounce.
To renounce.
Karmani,
Karmani.
activities of.
Activities of.
Asheshata,
Ashishata.
altogether.
Altogether.
Yatu,
Yadu.
anyone who.
Anyone who.
Karma,
Karma.
work.
Work.
Pala,
Pala.
result.
Result.
Tyagi,
Tyagi.
renouncer.
Renouncer.
Sa,
Sa.
he.
He.
Tyagi,
Tyagi.
the renouncer.
The renouncer.
Iti,
Iti.
thus.
Thus.
Abhidiyate,
Abhidiyate.
it is said.
Is
Translation. This is Sri Krishna speaking to Sri Arjuna. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities. Therefore, it is said that he who renounces the fruits of action is one who has truly renounced. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai. The person in Krishna consciousness acting in knowledge of his relationship with Krishna is always liberated. Therefore, he does not have to enjoy or suffer the results of his acts after death. Okay, so I'll recite a few more mantras to continue to invoke auspiciousness in our gathering and to pray that whatever I speak accurately represents the spirit and content of Bhagavad Gita and Srila Prabhupada. Om Anjanatimmirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayambhupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaisnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Vedan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagat Pate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpatiyubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 11. Nahi deha pita shakyam chaktum karman yashesata yastu karma pala tyagi satyagi yavidiyate. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities. Therefore, it is said that he who renounces the fruits of action is one who has truly renounced. Hare Krishna. Okay, welcome Bhakti Oasis, Bear in Pensacola. Danielle, George, Saraswati, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 11. All right, so there's some it's a short verse and a short purport. Some very key principles there. Okay, It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, embodied being. Okay, so the word there is dehabrita. Perhaps the verse that Prabhupada quotes the most from Bhagavad Gita, or at least it's up there. It's probably the verse I quote the most. Dihinosmin yata dehe komaram yovanam jara tata dehan dira prabtir diras tatranamuyati. As the embodied soul, as the embodied being, continually passes in this body from childhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at the time of death, at the time of death. So we are this irreducible quanta of consciousness. We're this spirit soul inside a body. So, right, so we are, you can say we are the observer. And this is, okay, importantly, Bhagavad Gita, this is all universal principles, nothing sectarian. Okay, someone can say, I'm white, I'm black, I'm Republican, I'm Democratic, I'm French, I'm Arab, I'm Jew, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, I'm American, whatever. We all have experience. The body changes, yet there's some constant identity that I call David, you call Devin, you call Kathleen, right? We were in a toddler body and then teenage body and then young adult body. Body changes, but there's some constant identity. So Bhagavad Gita scientifically says, that's the soul. So just like, okay, so the soul is the actual seer and actor. Sometimes in our seminars, we do some closed eye process. Yes, yeah. What's it like to be in that body, peering through those eyes, hearing through those ears, speaking through that mouth? Imagine you're in your 5-year-old body, in your 20-year-old body, like that. Okay, so the soul is the observer. That's the actual self. The root cause of all illusion, all anxiety, bayam dvitiya bini veshatasya, the root cause of all anxiety is misidentification, we can say, of the seer with the seen, of the eternal spirit soul with the temporary material body, because the body will die, will grow old, will become disease, all sorts of things happen to the body that are that we don't want, that are not fun and material misery. So with a little self-awareness, we can get, yes, I'm in this body, I'm not the body, right? Just like a story a story I often tell in different classes, seminars. About 10 years ago, I was in Colorado and I was giving a keynote presentation to the staff of a hospital, mostly doctors, nurses, like that. And we started the presentation saying, imagine someone comes to you and says, I've hurt my finger. In that simple statement, my finger, in that simple expression, there are two entities. There's the finger and there's the owner of the finger. So I asked the doctors and nurses, who are you treating? Are you treating the finger or are you treating the owner of the finger? The director of the hospital looked a little stunned, but at some point he said, well, David, that's a simple question, but we never really thought about it. So I said, yeah, it's an important question because the finger, it's made of the same stuff as this table or this terrazzo floor. The finger is dead matter. There's no healing potency in the finger. The healing potency is in that atomic unit of sentience. What this Dehabrita, the embodied spiritual being, right? The embodied spiritual being leaves the body, and we want to bury the body, feed it to the fishes, burn it, like that. Okay, because we know that's the life force, the spirit soul. Okay. So then, so we're the observer, we're not the observed. We're the experiencer, we're not the experience. We're this, so we are conscious and consciousness. This is the science of spiritual life. Bhagavad Gita. So the embodied being. Now Krishna starts And he says, it is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities. So this is another key point in this verse. It's another key point. Because we can think that, okay, so let's say, okay, I get, yeah, I'm the spirit soul, I'm not the body, I'm the observer. Okay, yeah, good. Now what? Now what? Like, or so what?
Maybe just let the finger bleed.
Let the finger bleed, yeah. Because we're gonna, so this is a theme in Bhagavad Gita. Actually, this chapter is called conclusion. It's somewhat of a summary. So it's a theme. In the third chapter, also, Krishna says something similar. He says, we're going to act. So now we can think. Well, sure, when I'm in illusion and condition and material life, then I'll act. But when I achieve full spiritual enlightenment, then I'll do nothing. There's conceptions like that. Very unsatisfying practically and philosophically. Srila Prabhupada, so this is very important. Because, yeah, there are some approaches to spiritual life where the idea is just give up all desires, because desires get us entangled in so envy and jealousy, and just give up all desires. So, and then we'll be peace. No, so that's, great idea. The only problem with that is that it's completely 100% impossible. Other than that, go for it, but it's impossible. The nature of the soul is to desire. Just oceans and oceans of desires are going to flow from the soul. Oh, that's terrible. No, it's terrible to the extent that we don't know the science and art of bhakti, the science and art of how to direct our desires. Prabhupada gives the example, like if there's a patient, let's say a patient convalescing in the bed, convalescing in the bed, and so sick, a person's sick. So when a person's sick in bed, then the activities are very limited. I can't go hike in the woods today. I can't finish that project. And I can't go to my office and work for 8 hours. I can't socialize. So then, let's say when the patient is restored to full health, then he just does nothing and lies on the bed. No. Then he gets to engage with full gusto and full vitality and vibrance in his activities. Then he can run and jump and work and dance and socialize and relate. So similarly, that's the analogy. So spiritually, to the extent that we're not self-realized, to the extent that we're still under the misidentification that I am the seen rather than the seer, that I'm the body, then we're spiritually sick. We're spiritually in convalescence. Then we're spiritually ill. We've allowed the diamond self that we are to be covered. Okay, so then when we are restored to full spiritual health, then we do nothing. No, then we engage in full spiritual activities with our body, spiritual dancing, spiritual communicating, spiritual service, spiritual flute playing. See, so in this bhakti, it's vibrant, it's colorful, full of personality, but that's spiritual music, spiritual. So that's the key here. That's the key here. And to the extent that we're not realized and educated in engaging in karma-free spiritual activity, then we'll engage in activity where we're going to further entangle ourselves in the knots of karma. Okay. So we're gonna act. But when we become spiritual, you're gonna act. Okay. So self-realization is nice in the sense of realizing who I am as the driver of the car, not the car, the owner of the finger, not the finger. That's nice, and it's not complete. So then realize, oh, I'm not the car, I'm the driver of the car. Nice. Okay. So what does the driver do in self-realization? What does the owner of the car do in self-realization? We're going to act. Our choice. Okay. Essentially, we can say we're going to we're going to direct our activities either in tamas, rajas, sattva, or transcendence. Directing our activities in transcendence, that's a way that's what is bhakti. And then we're karma free. Then we're not setting ourselves up for further entanglement in more gross and subtle material bodies. As an analogy, gross material body like the hardware of the computer, subtle material body, that's like mind, intelligence, material ego. It's like the software. We're not the hardware, we're not the software. We're the operator of the computer. So even if we direct our activities in goodness, and we are encouraged to cultivate sattva goodness, we're encouraged to cultivate sattva, but not make it the ultimate goal, not to neglect it, but to cultivate it. So let's say I direct my activities to helping, let's say someone has money, direct their activities to building an educational institution or a hospital. Okay, so you say, oh, that's a good thing. It's not like you're just getting yachts for yourself or, amassing greedy materialism. I'm building, okay. But then it's kind of like, it's kind of like, okay, then I'm setting myself that maybe later this life, maybe I'm setting myself for relatively good health because I donated to someone's good health of many people. Still, the body's going to grow old, become diseased, and die. Or maybe I'm setting myself up later in this life or in a future life to be highly educated with lots of letters next to my name because I donated to an educational institution. I'm still setting myself up, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Darshana, to be trapped in a body, which is trapped in a body, forced birth, death, old age, disease. It's very embarrassing for the glorious spirit soul. It's very embarrassing. I remember this was, on occasion I've told this story. When I was in the Middle East, I was serving Prabhupada's movement in the Middle East for about 8 years, 80s, early 90s. And I would sometimes go like to some members of the Israeli Jewish population and say, okay, because we'd be conducting educational programs in Bhagavad Gita, and we say, okay, let's say someone has, they're wealthy and they donate to build a hospital to heal and cure people. Is that good? Yes, that's good.
No, didn't say that.
Yes, that's good. So then I was okay. Well, let's say the hospital is in downtown Beirut, and the hospital specializes in healing and curing terrorists so they could get back on their terrorist activities. Is it still good? Oh no, that's terrible. But wait a second. You just said, okay. So that's why, like, there's good karma, bad karma, but it's all bad. And if we're still entangling ourselves and others, because even let's take the hospital analogy. Oh, that's a good thing to do compared to just like, buying drugs or something like that. But then let's say if in the hospital they're serving meat, so animals die in terrible pain, and we're implicated in that. And so there's some good karma, there's some good karma. It's always mixed. So bhakti, that's free from karma. That's an important thing about karma because there are some myths about karma. Sometimes like, yeah, why is that happening? It's my karma. What can I do? It's my karma. Karma is used as an excuse for a very disempowered, victim-y philosophy. Actually, right in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita and throughout Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada emphasizes karma can be destroyed. Karma can be changed. karma, it can be transcended. How? Even by cultivating knowledge, sattvic habits, we change our karma. Just okay. And bhakti, and how long does it take to change our karma, to destroy it? 1 moment. 1 moment. We engage in hearing Bhagavad Gita. We engage in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We transcended our karma. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm steady on that platform of transcendence, but we experience it by engaging in any of the limbs of bhakti. Okay. Now, to be steady in that transcendental, karma is just another way to say my past, my nature, my nurture. There's a saying that nurture means my parents did it to me. Nature means my grandparents did it to me. So Bhagavad Gita empathizes with, accepts the influence of nature and nurture. At the same time, particularly as spirit souls having a human experience, referencing Teilhard de Chardin there. He said, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. That's this verse, we're Deha Brita, we're the embodied being, we're not the body. So spiritual beings have a human experience, then we get to transcend nature and nurture. Just another way of saying we get to transcend our karma in 1 moment. Actually, okay, and it's not that mystical. It's just like I'm facing a situation now, and at least this morning during japa, I transcended my karma. I'm facing a situation. You might call it's an interpersonal situation of that. And according to my psychophysical nature, my karma, it's another way to say karma, I would either get angry and upset in a reactive way, or I would just kind of go and sulk and wallow. And some combination of tamas or rajas. Someone's trying to hurt me on some platform. So I would hurt back. I would just sulk and like that. Tamas rajas. That would be my karma, my psychophysical game. But then I thought, okay. Rather than isolate myself, how to participate in service to Prabhupada, how to participate with empathy and compassion, establishing my boundaries and standing for a virtuous, fulfilling outcome that is aligned with the principles of self-realization. So then I got clear on how to do that. Now, my hope is I follow through as the day goes on. Might take me a day because I'm going to be writing a letter, but that's transcending my karma. Now, if I'm transcending it through those sattvic principles where my speech is beneficial, true, I'm not reacting from fear, neither am I polluting the whole relationship with my anger, because there's a healthy sattvic place for it. Okay, then it's transcending my karma. And that's possible every moment in every area of life in the human form. So transcending our karma through sattva, and that's completely possible. Prabhupada describes it right in the introduction. Transcending our karma through sattvic worldview, sattvic thought, sattvic behavior. And then to be completely free from that cycle of karma, then that's transcendent. Because now if I'm doing it not just out of like compassion, but if I'm truly doing it to please Prabhupada and Krishna, then that's the transcendental platform. That's the art of karma-free devotional life. It's described in the Brahma Samhita. Yas Twindra Gopam Atavendra Mahosva Karma Bandana Rupam Palabhajana Matanoti Karmani Nirdhati Kintu Chabakti Bhajam Govinda Mari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. All living entities all over the universe, including the demigods, they're bound by karma. They're bound by, and karma again, it's not this karma, it's basically like there's Newton's law of action and reaction. So that's karma on the subtle platform. And it's action and reaction on the subtle platform. Okay. And so let's say if I eat a half a gallon of ice cream at night, then the next morning I'll suffer karma. Okay, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. And then there's more subtle effects. Like we have this body because of the karma, the choices we made in previous bodies. Yeah. So to not be forced to get another, so it's described that everyone's just pulled and pushed by the karma, except for the devotee, except for the devotee. Another analogy Srila Prabhupada gives, another analogy is, to help to understand this. Just like, okay, it's like a militaristic analogy that, let's say a soldier is following the commands of his commanding officer up the line. And the soldier might kill many other soldiers on the opposing army. Yeah. And then the soldier gets a medal for it. Soldier make a Medal of Honor. Okay. Now, let's say the soldier, he goes back home, he's discharged from the army, he's discharged from the military, and then and then let's say he's just walking down the street and maybe he sees someone who owes him money, is like 2 months late in paying him, just shoots him. And then the police get him, and then he's going to either be, hanged, or he's going to be life in prison. So a soldier can say, "What? This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. When I was in the army overseas, I killed like 100 people, and you gave me a medal. Here, I just killed one person. I'm waiting to be appreciated, but now you're saying I need to face a firing squad. It doesn't make any sense." But no, it makes complete sense. Because here, the person you shot because he looked at you bad or he owed you some money, that's for your own personal sense gratification. So you're implicated. You're responsible for the result. You took a life, you're going to suffer for that. Now, when you did it in the army overseas, yeah, you're celebrated as a hero because you're doing that not for your sense gratification. You're doing that in service to the country. You're doing that in service to higher authorities. Now, that's an analogy. But because an actual soldier fighting for most, maybe all countries, there is karma because the countries aren't purely representing God. Okay, that's another discussion. But we get the analogy. So that if we do something for the sense gratification of the body, whether it's gross sense gratification or subtle sense gratification for my profit, adoration, distinction, popularity, votes. So if I do it for my gross or subtle sense gratification, I'm going to be implicated in the cycle of karma. But if I do it for Krishna, the maker of karma, then I'm free from karma. Then I'm free, just like the soldier who might shoot someone, might kill people in following the commanding officers. No, he doesn't need to get court-martialed. He doesn't need to suffer. So similarly, so this is the art to whether it's in our career, in our communication, in our relationships, in how we take care of our body, how we nourish ourselves, in our recreation, in what we do with the early morning hours, the afternoon hours, the art and science, how to do that for the commanding officer, how to do that for Krishna, for Srila Prabhupada, then that's freedom. Then we're not, it's described, Bijante Vidyagwanchis Chijante Sarvasamshaya, Shante Tasya Chasyakamani Drishta Evatmani Shre. Then the knot in the heart is pierced. Then the knots of karma from the modes of nature, then the knot is pierced and we're free. And it's not like this free stagnant, then we're free and we dynamically engage in spiritual service, spiritual activity. So this bhakti yoga, which is all the yogas, the source book is Bhagavad Gita, and all the yogas culminate in bhakti, the soul engaging in loving devotional service to the Supreme Soul, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this bhakti yoga, it's not world rejecting, it's completely world embracing. And Krishna said, Yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya tat kushva madarpana. Krishna says, whatever your work is, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer and give away, do it for me. Then the next verse, he says, Patram pushpam palam toyam Yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti paritam ashnami prayatatmana. Krishna talks about eating. So we're going to be active, we're going to work, we're going to do stuff, we're going to eat. Oh, well, that will be karma. Any eating, even a vegetarian diet, it's less entangled karma than if we're killing animals to satisfy our belly. But even a vegetarian diet, there's some karma there. But prasadam, that's karma free. That we prepare the food for Krishna under a system that he gives us through his pure devotee Srila Prabhupada. We commit to consume only prasadam, then even the eating process, we're supporting ourselves in our spiritual life, in our karma-free life, to get out of the miseries of material existence. Yes. So one last analogy that Prabhupada uses, and then I'll be glad to hear any comments, realizations you want to share, or questions you'd like to ask. So Prabhupada uses the example of it's the principle that this bhakti yoga, it's not about rejecting, it's about utilization, it's about transformation. It's about utilization, it's about transformation. And so Srila Prabhupada, he uses the analogy of if we find a wallet on the street, let's say the wallet has $800 cash and some credit cards. All right, so the materialistic mentality is, okay, now I can enjoy the money and the credit cards. That's materialism. Okay, then let's call it partial renunciation, because that's what's described here. Krishna says, therefore it is said that he who renounces the fruits of action is one who is truly renounced. So partial renunciation, not complete renunciation, that is not my wallet, that is not my cash, those are not my credit cards. I will not touch it. So there's something relatively noble about that compared to, I'm going to enjoy it now. Something relatively noble. But true renunciation that Krishna is talking about here, again, I'll read that second sentence of the verse. Therefore it is said that he who renounces the fruits of action is one who has truly renounced. So highest renunciation in that example is this is not my wallet, this is not my cash, these are not my credit cards. The wallet does not belong to me, but it does belong to someone. Let me return it to the owner, because it's for him or her to enjoy the cash and the credit cards and the driver's license. Then we feel completely in our integrity. So the wallet represents all the energies, whether it's the sunlight or the money in the bank account with our name on it, or the vehicle we drive, or the home we live in, whether we're paying a mortgage or renting, or this very body or this very mind. It's all Krishna's wallet. It's all Krishna's cash. It's all Krishna's energy. And so incomplete renunciation is, I will not enjoy. But this verse makes it very clear. I'll just do nothing because I don't want to get entangled in material life and karma. No, we're going to act. And we're going to act. And to the extent that we have not learned the science of acting in bhakti, then we're going to act materially and entangle ourselves in karma, whatever our abstract talk about, I'm not the body, I'm the observer, this and that. Okay, what's the activities of of the owner of the finger. Okay, so the idea is to use everything in the service of the owner. That's Krishna. Then we're completely happy, and we feel completely blissful and in our integrity. So today we're studying Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, entitled Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation, text 11. Nahi deha brita shakyam tyaktum karman yasheshata yastu karma palatyagi sadtyag it yavidiyate. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities. Therefore it is said that he who renounces the fruits of action is one who has truly renounced. Hare Krishna. Bhakti Oasis, hand up, Bhakti Oasis.
Hare Krishna. I thank you so much for your consistency and your support. It's always so enlivening to hear you speak and to be in association with this beautiful community and everyone that consistently comes and is so. I can't tell you how supportive it is for me personally, us as a family. It's just really, it's very special, and I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much, dear Govinda, for your class. I wanted to ask, because you spoke a lot today about renunciation and being able to utilize things properly in Krishna's service, and I have been really questioning this quite a lot. The idea of being the instrument and being resourced and getting instruction, getting intelligence, getting whatever material obstacles removed. And then the perception of someone who's not engaged in Krishna consciousness, someone who doesn't know necessarily about, the universal laws of karma and the way in which Krishna operates and reciprocates, the way you're speaking about today, the perception is, oh, wow, you're so powerful. And you have like, ooh, that person, their intelligence, they just have so much intelligence. And, or like, wow, look at that car they drive or that presentation they gave, or that the language they use, and how are they doing that with or without a level of education, or it's like some kind of and then there becomes this designation of like, okay, now you have those special qualities, and like I want to be around you and I want to understand like what you're doing. And then there's so much like adoration and appreciation and distinction that comes from that. So what is like, especially with somebody who doesn't understand Krishna consciousness, what is the position of one who is in this awkward position? It's an awkward position. We're doing our service, right? We're doing our service in whatever capacity that might be. And then naturally people become attracted and naturally they become appreciative. So how does one, tactfully, artfully, kindly, because I don't want to reject people. I also don't want to mislead them to think like, because I've had that experience where I've appreciated someone and they've said, well, it's not me, it's Krishna. Like, don't thank me. I don't want to be thanked. And that doesn't feel good. Like, I want to thank people, but I also don't want to be under false illusion that someone has some kind of potency, that they're really just like reciprocating with Krishna and receiving the blessing of their service, nor do I want to illusion people in my own service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Bhakti and Danielle. I appreciate your sharing and the question. Thank you. Well, one thing comes to me is, okay, so we're talking about like receiving appreciation or adoration or respect. So let's say on one material extreme, one material consciousness is, I just let it get to my head and I become arrogant, and it strengthens my material ego, and Krishna's not in the equation. Like, yeah, I am great. I might not say that, but I let it, I let it nourish my material ego and anarthas that like that. And so that's not healthy. And then actually in doing that, then we're actually implicating ourselves and the others in karma, in karma. Okay. So like, yeah, because like I gave something and I'm getting enjoyment of adoration, popularity, distinction, fame, like that. So then I'm implicating myself in karma. Then another, which you indicated, Danielle, another, let's call it materially minded approach could be I can sort of like block it. I can sort of block it like that, where because like in giving and receiving, to receive is not being a taker. It's not draining energy. To be open, like if someone's giving me a gift or appreciation and I openly receive it, that's a natural part of the cycle, the cycle of giving, receiving, appreciation, enriching relationships, and if I block that, then it's just there's something incomplete. I'm blocking a gift that someone wants to give, and then that feels life alienating, relationship draining. So a way to look at it, in connection with the themes of today's discussion, is okay. Let me endeavor to receive it. I'm speaking the principle as far as what words we say or that. I mean, that's a detail, but I'm speaking about the quality of being. Let me endeavor to receive it in a spirit where it's like it's a mutual appreciation and glorification of God, of Krishna. Not in a spiritual bypass sort of way, like, oh, nothing to be, where it's kind of like blocking. But like when Srila Prabhupada would receive so much appreciation, and he would like truly say, yes, this appreciation, this goes to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, my spiritual master. So to receive it, where it's just like, okay, that's great. So someone's inspired, enthused by some qualities they're experiencing in me. Okay, so I know that whatever auspicious qualities are coming through, I'm simply being an instrument, a reflection of the source of all wonderful qualities. So let me deepen my gratitude to get to engage in service for Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. Let me deepen my appreciation, my joyful appreciation for how infinitely unlimited are Krishna's and the pure devotees' qualities. So to endeavor to not block it, because that could be another sort of material false humility, ego, to not block it, and to receive it in a way where I don't become puffed up and arrogant, but to receive in a way where it truly deepens for me and the other person or persons, it deepens our appreciation for the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the pure devotee of God. And then that way that energy of admiration, appreciation, distinction, that energy is engaged in the service of Krishna. We're not rejecting it in an impersonal way, neither are we basking in it in a materialistic way, but we're engaging it to deepen the spirit of bhakti. That's some principles that come to me.
That's really clear and really helpful. I heard a quote yesterday from Gene Kelly, it's attributed to Gene Kelly, and he had this amazing dancing ability.
Yeah.
And they asked him how he did it, and he said that he just endeavored to make his partner look good. And so I feel like I'm just endeavoring to do my part to reciprocate with Krishna, to give back to Srila Prabhupada, and that's it. And anything you're seeing is really just my effort to do that. So that makes it really clear. That makes it really helpful. Like in a spiritual sense, I'm really just serving my partner in this, which is Srila Prabhupada, which is really, the representative of Lord Shri Krishna. And like, I feel blessed to do that. And so that maybe that's like something I can hook onto, like what you're saying. That's really helpful. Thank you so much, dear Govinda.
Thank you, Bhakti and Danielle. And yeah, okay, I appreciate your reference to Gene Kelly. There's a text in the 7th chapter of Krishna, the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Shabdake Pur Shamrishu he says, I'm wherever we see some special ability in humans, he said, that's me. Krishna is the essence of that. So we see an amazing dancer like Gene Kelly. For a devotee, it's not like we need to reject that, but that reminds me of how amazing Krishna is. Krishna is that dancing ability. George.
Krishna Govinda, thank you so much. I had a comment. There were 2 points in today's class that I received a little bit of realization around from listening to Srila Prabhupada lecture this morning. And one was in regard to Bhagavad Gita 2:13, that verse you quoted at the start of your class.
Yeah.
And Srila Prabhupada said, people say that, the body is growing, and Srila Prabhupada said in the lecture that the soul changes bodies every minute. And he gave an analogy of an old-timey like film roll. He says it's like a picture, it's like a snapshot of a picture, and then in sequence the picture changes. And so the body, in this situation I received this, like the body appears to be growing, or like the person in the film, in the old cinema film, appears to be moving and acting and so forth. Or even like in old illustrations, hand drawings, like you see of like Mickey Mouse or Disney animators, used to just, it's a different image that in sequence appears, like the mouse is turning the captain's wheel or whatever the situation. So I really appreciated that. It really kind of stuck to me that like the body is changing every minute. And so he says, and he also said, like, the voice of the spirit soul in the body of a toddler is different than the voice of a teenager that comes from that different changed body. So that was, I feel like I received a little realization there from that analogy that Srila Prabhupada made. And the other point was regarding hospitals, like you were talking about.
Yes, we gave a few hospital analogies.
Yes, and I thought it was interesting. Prabhupada mentioned that some of his friends advised him that he should open some hospital, and Srila Prabhupada said no, and he said the hospitals that he's creating, the hospital he's creating is one that defeats death, that defeats the four miseries, and that really stuck with me, like really stuck with me. Like the point is to to recognize the inherent problems of taking, like, and he said, like, he used this word that the evidence is, like he said, like these bodies are condemned. He used that word condemned, and it really sank deeply for me, right? Like I'm like, I feel like, okay, we're condemned to take birth, disease, old age, and death, and this body is like the evidence of it, So I appreciated that Srila Prabhupada's hospital doesn't endeavor, like in kind of like a material sense, or like a material mundane hospital that tries the finger, or fixing the treating the owner of the finger, but like ultimately, like we're treating just the dress. Like Srila Prabhupada's hospital really defeats death. It liberates us from having to succumb to these four miseries of existence in these material bodies. So I just wanted to share those comments and the little realization that I gained.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada's establishing hospitals that cure disease completely, forever, because as long as we're entangled in karma, we're going to keep getting bodies that get diseases. So Prabhupada's creating hospitals to solve the real problems of material life: disease, death, rebirth, old age. And the first part of what you shared, George, thanks for that. Yeah, such a wonderful analogy to understand. It's not really an analogy, it's the reality. And that Srila Prabhupada using, relatively modern technology, because when Prabhupada was young, he said he particularly liked Charlie Chaplin movies. Prabhupada really likes Charlie Chaplin, and he would quote Charlie Chaplin and give examples. but Prabhupada used from the movie, like, yeah, it appears like it's the same body, but no, it's every frame. So we can, we can say, yeah, at the time of death, we change bodies. Well, okay, but every moment, none of us are in the same body we were in 1 hour ago. But it looks like it's the same, but that's just our illusion. Thank you, George. Bhaktin Rosa.
Hello.
Hey, Rosa.
Hey, good morning. Hare Krishna. My question has to do with going back to the story. You were talking about karma, and my interpretation is discernment of our actions and whether they're self-fulfilling or meeting a higher purpose. My question has to do with what you later described, or I'm going to use these words maybe, as like false ego, kind of aggrandizing ourselves and saying that we're doing good. My question has to do with how do we discern that the actions we are taking are not impinging in some way? For example, the world is in need of no reformer, right?
World stands in no need of any reform.
Exactly.
Rosa, 8 days ago, completed the Sofatov Advanced Seminar. Dr. Devin was clapping. So, yeah. So that quote was a theme of this seminar. Please continue.
I feel my question is a little muddled, but I think perhaps you get my point. We endeavor to take good action, not for ourselves, but for a greater good. But at
Yeah.
what point can we discern if we're being effective? When I've asked myself this question before in different ways, my answer always is, do my actions come from a feeling within my body? For example, a reaction of need or desire or want of this or that. But as I've been reading and studying, the mind is also part of the body. We're not our mind necessarily. And I tend to intellectualize a lot. And so how do we know that we've even transcended that?
I
Alex
appreciate.
Rosa.
Yeah. Okay. You like her question? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Intelligent
Her
question.
mind.
Yeah. Nice question. Thank you, Rosa. So, I appreciate your spirit of inquiry. And you said, how do we discern? Discernment, that's a function of intelligence. That's a function of intelligence. Intelligence it's more subtle than the material mind, but it's still material. So, okay. The essence of my response is to take shelter of higher intelligence. What's higher intelligence? That's like Bhagavad Gita. That's okay. Like Srila Prabhupada. So we don't need to live accidentally. It doesn't need to be all trial and error. So we can make a careful study of the modes of nature, and then I'm clear when I'm acting in tamas, when I'm acting in rajas, when I'm acting in sattva. What is transcendence? And so I know for myself, like we started morning program at 5 a.m. Before 5 a.m. for 30 minutes, I read Srila Prabhupada's books. I read Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm on chapter 17 of the Adi Leela. So I'm reading all of Srila Prabhupada's books over and over. It's not just, I read the book. But by reading Prabhupada's books, also by chanting japa, I shared some experience. By chanting japa this morning, it was clear to me how I was going to react. That would have been lower mode, but I got clear on what higher mode would look like, and that's in the reference point. So reading Srila Prabhupada's books, it sharpens our spiritual intelligence. I say that from experience, okay? That whatever spiritual intelligence I have, it's from following the process Prabhupada has given us. So it's not a cheap thing. It's not a cheap thing to make that discernment in each area of our life, whether it's where we direct our charity, how we communicate, how we, what our office looks like, our relationship with eating, sleeping, our relationship with all the energies, career, how to do it in transcendence. There's a science of that. And so to learn, not that in that science to say, you know, here's what you do today, but it'll give us the principles to make that discernment in every life situation. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Rosa. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
the, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Devin?
I'll speak to Rosa and say, I hope you all, if you don't know, Govinda is giving a class tomorrow at 1 for advanced course graduates. Is that correct?
That's, well, I'm definitely giving class 1 to 2:30. Well, it's a group coaching. I'll start with some talk, and it might have similarities to today, and then it'll be coaching. You know, actually, I'm not even sure if it's just for advanced course graduates or it's for like everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. Patrick will be more clear on that than me.
So because I saw an email just this morning said about advanced course graduates and Rosa just graduated. Yeah. I thought to mention that there is that class tomorrow.
Thanks for
Thank
that.
you so much. I already signed up.
Jai. So we'll go more into that question tomorrow.
You're probably, I would think.
I think we will.
Yeah. I got a realization.
Yeah.
Thanks to an example you gave. And I made that distinction that about karma being I think about like my situation, my circumstances, my body being results of my karma, my past actions.
Yes, action.
And I'm kind of getting that. You know, time to time I go, okay, I'll accept responsibility for this suffering, you know, generally. Or possibly for this enjoyment, you know, for this privilege. Yeah. I'll, you know, at times. This morning I got appreciation of like also the intelligence I've been given, like the reciprocation from Krishna. Krishna gives the intelligence by which to come to him. Yeah. Tesam satatyutanam bhajatam pridipurvagam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupiyanti te. Krishna said, it's 10.10 Bhagavad Gita. For one who's sincere, I'll give you the intelligence, you can come to me. So our job is simply to be sincere. And then Krishna gives us the intelligence. So you were moved in realization of that text from Krishna. Jai. Yeah, what was the example you gave? I'm rudely picking up my phone, but I'm to take some notes. Yes, you said, okay, yeah, because you said my psychophysical nature. Psychophysical. So it refers to physical and intelligence. Yeah. Mind and intelligence and position. Like with your example, the email example, that's the one I'm referring to. Okay. Sorry, I know there's email, but a response to a situation. A response to a situation. You said based on my karma. Based on my karma. This was so fascinating to me. This is where I got the realization. I'm glad I took the note because then I was like stumbling. So it's like based on my karma, I would have reacted maybe spitefully with some frustration, anger, or retreated. Right. These are my words. You know, like this is my understanding. It's accurate. Maybe just like, oh, it's too painful. Ignore it. Like, I just wish it wasn't happening out there. Retreat. And then you said further later, just now, you said actually in your japa, you got realization of like how to handle it with a higher level of consciousness. Higher consciousness. Yeah. And then in that detail, what does that mean? I'm going to use, my understanding was that means I'm going to use this to serve Krishna and Prabhupada. I'm going to use this opportunity. Yes. Where someone's attacking me. Yeah. To serve Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. And then like you're energized. Okay. You're like energized by it. Like, wow, this is an opportunity. Yeah. But it's based on my karma. Yeah. In this life and past life. Yes. That this person's attacking me. Mm-hmm. I deserve it. Yeah. Yeah. And man, like so much of me wants to just like hurt back. Yeah. And you are feeling hurt. Yeah. I mean, it's like they're calling you names or something. Something like that. Know, and it's like okay, but that's only hurting my false ego. Yeah. And then there's that false transcendence might look like, oh well, that's my karma. Yeah, I'll tolerate it. Oh yeah. or like,
Right.
yeah, and then it's like, okay, but like the really like the juice, and it was through that example because I've heard this many times, and the body and my circumstances, but it's like, oh, the opportunity there to transcend my karma is to use the opportunity to serve Krishna and Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
And it's like chilling. It's really exciting.
I appreciate you sharing. It's like I'm seeing myself more clearly by your sharing. So it just like it's kind of it's what I said, and just you sharing it with connection and energy and emotion. I'm feeling even more enlivened by the opportunity.
Yeah, it is. It feels so much emotion, and it's like I'm getting some juice out of what you said there. And there's so much. I mean, so much from these two sentences.
Yeah.
Because from the purport, I actually focused on the second sentence.
Yeah.
And I had sort of like a tongue in cheek, like, suffer the results of his acts after death.
Yeah.
Suffer after death. Like in some conceptions that death is, the end, or that we all go to heaven or hell.
Yeah.
So there's like, okay, suffer after death. Well, that means hell. Right. And then like, for those, in a black and white way.
Sure.
So like, and like, that conception that, well, after death, hopefully suffering's finished if I've lived good, if I've lived in sattva. But then there's this thing, Shuddha sattva.
There's Shuddha sattva.
And this Shuddha sattva, I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Meaning dovetailing, taking the opportunity to respond to serve Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. Would that be considered Shuddha sattva?
It would. And okay, I guess
transcending the mode of goodness into transcending. Transcending means transcending the mode of goodness and karma completely.
Yeah. Shuddha sattva, it's a synonym of bhakti. Shuddha sattva is a synonym of pure bhakti. And the way you described it, acting with transcendence, not good karma and bad karma. Shuddha sattva means the bhakti platform, not pushed and pulled by the modes of nature, not even material, because material sattva is always contaminated with some rajas or tamas. Shuddha sattva, it's a different substance altogether, a different category altogether. Shuddha sattva is bhakti, pure bhakti. And sattva, the essence of sattva is to bring to conscious perception that which till now has not been perceived. So material sattva might be like, oh yeah, I see, I'm hanging on to this guilt so people feel sorry for me. Some realization, that a lot of sattva talks. And then Shuddha sattva, it's kind of like the inspiration to serve Krishna that's core to the soul gets more and more revealed. So it's the same principle. Shuddha sattva, it's a different substance than material sattva. It's synonymous with bhakti. Yeah.
And I know this class is recorded, hopefully.
We are recorded.
Okay.
I did remember.
I probably should share one more thing. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll share something in a minute.
Oh, okay.
But it's related to what
I'll
we
keep
just
it
talked
short.
about.
I'll keep it short. So yeah. It was just the whole nature and nurture, that led into I'm glad that you added that piece. I'm going back, but you added that piece to the part about karma and reaction. And some say my nature is what I've done in this lifetime, or what's been done to me in this lifetime by my parents. That's my nurture. That's my nurture. Yeah. And then my nature is what was done to me by my grandparents, other past lives and
ancestry.
And I probably heard you say that before, but again, that was something that hit me and just went,
it impacted you.
Yeah, it impacted me. And go, okay, yeah. Well, it's just my nature. I do that a lot. Well, and constitution. And you can study all that and then go, well, where did that come from? Well, it's like in my genetics. It's my disposition. And so to take responsibility for that as well was invaluable.
Yeah, and we want to cultivate understanding of our nature and nurture, just like I want to cultivate understanding of this vehicle. Is this a two-door compact? Is this an 18-wheeler truck? Is this a vehicle where if I just touch the accelerator, it'll go real fast? Or I want to know my vehicle while cultivating realization that I'm not my vehicle. Kathleen.
Yeah, on that theme, as some of you may know, I started being a therapist on August 5th, professionally. And something that I focus on with so many clients is the nurture that they experience.
Yeah.
And I find that this is a shortcut for them to realize all the lies
Mm.
of who they think they are.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I find that this is a beneficial practice because people believe they're bad, they believe they're not smart enough, they
Yeah.
believe they're not beautiful enough, because they had received so many messages growing
Yeah.
up, not just from parents, but from society.
Society, yeah, yeah.
And so helping them undo those beliefs, I think makes them more available to the truth, including, transcendental truth. So I find that
Yeah.
it can help people get shortcuts out of this entanglement of their
Yes.
minds that are very, very mistaken. And
Yeah.
it's pretty tragic how confused people are. And so to be able to explain like the process of their neurology,
Yes.
like when you had that trauma, your brain started doing this and your
Yes.
amygdala does this and the hippocampus wasn't engaged. And they're like, oh my gosh, and it's a huge realization.
Yeah.
And it frees them from the entanglement of their beliefs.
Yeah.
And so it's been really, really enlightening.
Supporting them to come to freer, higher consciousness.
Yeah, I support them to disengage from their nervous system and to disengage from the beliefs that they've been taught. And so then they're more available to like,
Yeah.
well, what is true?
Yes.
Who am I really? So it's a nice, it's been, yeah, so I'm looking at it like, yes, it's that karma. They have so much karma around the mind. And when you
Yeah.
say material body, I'm like, well, I hope that includes the mind too. And I'm
Definitely,
understanding that it does.
definitely does.
It's
include
all
them.
of that. It's
Yes.
the whole existence is this in the human form.
Yeah, the whole amalgamation.
Right.
Krishna said, Bhumira Ponalovayu Kamana Buddhavicha Ahankaraitim Bina Pratyasada. He describes 8 essential material energies, 5 relatively external gross, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then there's 3 subtle material energies, mind, intelligence, and ahankara or false ego. So definitely includes the mind. And so yeah, so through the therapy you're conducting, they might think in those terms or not, but you're supporting them to come to sattva. Sattva means increased awareness. You're supporting them to free themselves from identifying with what mom told them or the bully in school or the media when they were a teenager, that I don't need to identify with that anymore. And that's liberating.
Makes them more accessible to spiritual life.
Yeah. Very inspiring. Any other questions or comments?
Oh, I have one more.
Yes, Kathleen.
We're in the Kali Yuga, and you said, oh, it's impossible for anyone to get rid of all of their desires. I was curious, in other yugas, was it possible? Was it possible through some sort of, meditation in a cave for 15 years? I know that in other yugas, there was other practices, so I was just curious.
Thank you. What I was saying in that part of the class is the spirit soul is always going to desire.
Mhm.
In any yuga, in any universe, in any planetary system, in any species, the spirit soul in the blade of grass is desiring that drop of water. The squirrel's desiring, I want that nut. The spirit soul's always going to desire in every species, any yuga. And so it's a futile effort to try to get rid of desires. So we do have the opportunity to transform our desires from material to spiritual. And we can transform 100% of our desires from material to spiritual. That's why Prabhupada gave us this auspicious morning program to start the day with cultivating spiritual awakening, spiritual desires. And right, in other yugas, Satya Yuga, there was persons could meditate for 60,000 years. Now, like to do 6 seconds is a challenge, you know, for me anyway. In other yugas, there was elaborate deity worship or sacrifice, or different mystic processes. At the same time, in every yuga, the most powerful process is bhakti. And all those other processes, this isn't just my opinion, this is Bhagavad Gita, all those other processes, including the meditation, it's to bring one to realize I'm not the body, I'm spirit, soul, Jivara Srupoi Krishnera Nichidas Krishnera Tatasta Shakti Beta Beta Prakash, to serve Krishna with love and devotion. Bhagavad Gita ki. Srila Prabhupada ki.
One more comment.
Oh, yes, Savior.
Sometimes the question, why do we have so many desires?
Yeah.
The thing is that Krishna has desires.
Krishna has desires. Good
He
point.
wants to enjoy. That's why he created all living entities and his energies just to fulfill his
Yes.
desires.
Yes.
So the only thing is that material desires and spiritual desires are very different.
Yeah.
If we just put there everything in the service of Krishna, all the desires, for example, we have the desire to eat.
Yeah.
Let's eat Krishna Prashanam.
Yes.
And then
Desire to eat Krishna Prashanam.
yeah, some people just criticizes Krishna because he enjoys in this way or in that way. But Krishna's enjoyment is in the spiritual platform.
Yes.
So unless we overcome our material desires and go back to Godhead, our desires will be always creating karma.
Yeah.
The only way we don't create karma is if our desires are spiritual. And that means doing everything for Krishna. But sometimes we see that even we suffer some kind of inconveniences in life.
Yeah.
Even if it's not due to our karma, but it's just Krishna manipulating
Yeah.
his energies in such a way that we can learn something.
Yes.
Just it's an opportunity. If I overcome the suffering,
It's an opportunity. Yes.
yeah, then with patience. And one thing that is very, very important is to be humble. If you're not humble, it's very difficult to overcome some kind of impediments. Like, for example, the Prabhu was saying, oh, if somebody comes and injures me or tell me bad names, oh, immediately I feel something in my heart.
It's painful.
Yeah, and I want revenge. But if I see, oh my Lord, if I am in the humble platform, I can react and say, oh my Lord, this is a lesson for me to learn. Let me act properly, be humble, be tolerant, be compassionate. Those are qualities that are from the devotees and nobody. That's it.
Thank you, Mataji. I'm moved personally by your sharing. It's nurturing, soothing words for something I'm addressing now. I appreciate very much your sharing. Starting with Krishna has desires. The couplet from Prabhupada's poem: absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou hast moved. Prabhupada's glorifying his spiritual master who established absolute doesn't mean a boy, doesn't mean a white light. Absolute is a person. Person means sentient. Absolute sentient. Thou hast moved. So spiritual desires. I appreciate how you. Spiritual desires means I align my desires with Krishna's desires. Not that I deny my desires, but I just choose to align my desires with Krishna's desires. That's spiritual life. That's bhakti. And yeah, that's just what you shared. That's the spirit of the devotional heart. As Lord Brahma prays to Krishna, Tate Nukampam Susamikshamanam jana eva ma kritam vipakam vidvagva probir vidadan namaste tiveta yomukti pade sadaiva. Just as Savior Prabhu you shared, Brahma is saying, yeah, the devotional heart, even when things don't at all go according to script, and as you shared, sometimes it's not the mechanical laws of karma. Sometimes for the sincere devotee, Krishna will arrange some difficult situation for the devotee as an opportunity for the devotee to go deeper into their inspiration. Yeah, let me completely give up the futile attempt to be happy and fulfilled in material life, and let me simply serve you with deeper enthusiasm and dedication. Yeah, so yeah. Sometimes those special arrangements, Krishna uses the karma of the devotee, but it's not like just the mechanical laws of karma. It's Krishna personally in a loving way using the devotee's karma.
Mother Draupadi, give me more opportunities to surrender, give me more opportunities to transcend my karma by serving you in struggles. It's like, not for me, because I'm like, oh, I don't want more struggles, but it's like, but that's the mood.
Yeah.
You said the struggles, the calamities, the opportunities to learn. And it's like, I got a little excited that like, ooh, it's a opportunity to serve Krishna.
Yeah.
Everything's an opportunity to serve Krishna.
To the extent that we're Krishna conscious.
And there's some point of the false ego. I like those distinctions have been very helpful for me. Intelligent mind, intelligence, and false ego.
Yeah.
So the false ego has a purpose. I'm not going to try to explain it now, and I'm not sure I'm clear about it, but there's a purpose.
The false ego, that's the most subtle of the material elements, and that's the glue that keeps us in material life. False ego is what keeps us from realizing, but we've created our false ego, and the false ego is the glue that keeps me invested in the illusion that I'm this body, I'm this mind, I'm not a soul, I'm not a servant of Krishna. I saw there are some hands up online.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah, just to answer Kathleen's point or question on Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, I just heard it yesterday while driving to work. Prabhupada kind of directly said it. He says, to become desireless means not to desire anything for sense gratification. In other words, the desire for becoming Krishna conscious is actually desirelessness. So I thought that was amazing. So I just wanted to share that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Desire to become Krishna conscious is actual desirelessness. Srila Prabhupada ki. Bhagavad Gita ki. Thank you for your association. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Hare Krishna Rosa. Thanks for your association.